So I've been planning for a while to make this video on the remittance basis, and it just so happens, for some reason, don't ask why, it's 2 a.m. right now and I'm sitting here making this video. But what can we do? Let's get on with it. So the first thing I'd like to say about the remittance basis, this is not in any particular order. I'm just going to say a few things that's relevant and important when it comes to the remittance basis. The first thing is that it's not automatic. So in order to claim the remittance basis, a claim has to be made. That's the first thing. By default, each and every individual under UK tax laws is taxed under the arising basis, meaning that they are taxed on their worldwide income and gains. So each individual, regardless of their situation, will be taxed under the arising basis, worldwide income and gains. To be taxed under the remittance basis, as I say, one needs to make a claim on their self-assessment tax return. Under the SA 109 pages, there's a box that can be ticked. Now, in terms of who is eligible to make a claim for the remittance basis, a UK resident and domiciled individual cannot claim the remittance basis. Only a UK resident non-domiciled individual is eligible for the remittance basis. So a UK resident domiciled individual will be taxed under the arising basis by default, meaning that individual is taxed on worldwide income and gains, so UK and overseas income. Obviously there's some potential scope for like foreign tax credit relief to be looked at. So if you tax in another in another country, for example, then you can potentially claim foreign tax credit relief using either treaty relief, unilateral, or deduction relief. But that's a different story. Back to the remittance basis, a UK resident non-domiciled individual can make a claim for the remittance basis. One may ask, what about a non-resident individual? Well, that's irrelevant because a non-resident individual is not subject to UK tax on overseas income. A non-resident individual is only subject to UK tax on UK source income. So keep that in mind. Further comments about the remittance basis, what I can say, for example, in fact, a key point that I should mention is comparative calculations most of the time need to be looked at. Why? Because if one claims the remittance basis, one will lose their personal allowance and the annual exempt amount. So for CGT purposes, the annual exempt amount. For income tax purposes, they will lose their personal allowance. Now, depending on the numbers, and I've had a few clients like this, well, a couple of clients that have been in a situation where it's not been necessary or relevant to claim the remittance basis because the way the numbers work out, the overseas income is not that much. So you'd rather preserve your personal allowance and or your annual exempt amount and therefore be taxed on worldwide income and gains. An individual that is taxed under the remittance basis, so you make the claim, you're UK resident non-domiciled, will still be taxed on their UK source income, so that's definite, and will only be taxed on foreign income, offshore income, that is remitted or brought back into the UK. Now, there is a lot of planning that can be done. For example, pre-arrival into the UK, an individual, for example, this is just an example. Obviously, each and every individual's situation is very subjective, as you know, for tax purposes. So, just for example, an individual comes to the UK. Now, before coming to the UK, sets up a separate bank account. So, any income that's accrued after becoming UK resident the funds will go into the new bank account, and any amounts remitted from the old or original bank account will not be treated as a remittance. Therefore, no UK tax. Is treated as clean capital. So that's a potential planning point there. And another point I can make about the remittance basis is that if the amounts remitted are less than £2,000 or less, then no formal claim needs to be made. It's automatic, and you still preserve your personal allowance and annual exempt amount. I was planning initially in my head I was going to do a minute video, just make the key points, but with tax nothing is ever that simple, so we've gone a bit longer. but and I can talk a lot more about the remittance spaces. There's loads that I haven't covered, but I hope that's a good overview, and I hope that's beneficial, and I hope this all made sense. And thank you very much for watching.